Hello and welcome back to another episode of Scorebook Stories. I am Alec, coming to you directly from my childhood bedroom. I am home visiting family this Memorial Day weekend, but I just have got to get on for a little while and talk a little bit about baseball because baseball is amazing, and that is what you should be watching all day long, all summer long, because baseball is incredible. Today, I want to talk a little bit about some of the top prospects that are going to be making MLB debuts, and one that has recently made his MLB debut, plus a couple of trade options for Paul Skenes because apparently the trade talks aren't going away. But Skenes does not want to leave Pittsburgh. He does not plan to leave Pittsburgh. But that is what we're going to talk about before we dive into some games to watch, the storied player and pitcher of the week, as well as some standings and statistics updates. So we're going to have a good show. Let's dive into it right away with Roman Anthony. Roman Anthony is 21 years old. He is a unbelievable outfielder right now down in Triple A, and so far he's reached base all 18 of his games this month. He's hitting 348, 482, and 470 over his last 85 plate appearances in May. His power output has gone down a little bit, but he still leads Triple A batters in average exit velocity at 95.3 miles an hour, hard hit rate at 60.2%, and his expected WOBA is in front as well with a 543. I believe that he is ready for his MLB debut. Roman Anthony's playing very good baseball right now, but the Red Sox, they don't need an outfielder. They don't need help out in the outfield at this very moment. So far this season, I really think that the Red Sox outfield has been producing at a very good rate, that Roman Anthony really isn't going to help that outfield all that much. But I do think that Anthony will be called up at some point, maybe not before the All-Star break. Right now, I would expect Roman Anthony to be a September call-up, as especially if this Red Sox outfield continues to produce it the way that they have. Moving on to a pitcher now, we're going to talk about Bubba Chandler, who has a 2.17 ERA, a 1.13 WHIP, 56 strikeouts, and 16 walks in 37 and a third innings with Indianapolis. He's playing really, really well. He is a pretty dominant pitcher right now. He had a start Saturday. I did not see his stats yet for that start, but he's pitching insane right now. His 36.8% strikeout rate is on top of Triple A, and it's not even close. One of the pitchers for Durham, Ian Seymour, he's in second place with a 31.4%. Chandler's four-seam fastball is averaged 98.1 miles an hour, and it comes out flat enough that it's getting a 40.7% whiff rate. His slider, curveball, and changeup all have whiff rates above 29%. He has been capped at 5 innings and 86 pitches and starts to this point. So I imagine that he's going to be gaining workload over his next several appearances. He's going to start to build up his arm, and they're going to try to make him MLB ready. The Bucks have optioned Cameron Moldzinski out of the rotation this past week, but they turned to Mike Burrows instead of Bubba Chandler. The starting group has already been pretty solid, but they are also down one of their very high potential arms in Jared Jones, who suffered a right UCL sprain in the spring. Paul Skenes has a 2.44, Mitch Keller a 3.88, Andrew Heaney with a 2.91, and Bailey Falter with a 3.5. All of them are off to really good starts, and I think Chandler would be a very solid fifth for this rotation by June. I would expect Bo Chandler to be in Pittsburgh some point next month. If he's not, I will be very surprised. Then now we're going to talk a little bit about a pitcher that I think is MLB ready, but due to injury, I think he's going to be slowed down a little bit on his time getting called up. After missing out on the 2023 and 24 season due to injury, Andrew Painter is doing really well. He had 4 starts with single A Clearwater to open 2025 and debuted in triple A Lehigh Valley on May 8th. And he has had 3 starts since then for the Iron Pigs. He has a 3.09 ERA, 27 strikeouts, 7 walks, 23 and a third innings. So he's pitching well. He's getting strikeouts. He's not walking guys that often. And he seems to have a pretty decent workload right now, but he's still in the build-up phase. Having reached 71 pitches in each of his 2 starts recently, I think he's on a good track right now to become MLB ready soon. On the season, he's averaged 96.6 mile an hour on his 4-seamer while showing a full complementing of breaking pitches, and they're all very effective if minimally used, especially his changeup. I still think that he has some work to do, and I would assume that Painter would be a good option to be called up for a start sometime in June if Nola is still on the IL. But with a dominating pitching staff that the Phillies have, especially once Nola comes back, I don't see Andrew Painter getting regular time on the mound this season at all. I think that he has a better shot to just get through a full season of AAA baseball healthy and do his best to get into the rotation next season. The Phillies have a lot of pitching depth as starters. When it comes to bullpen, that's different. I think if the Phillies really get desperate and they think Painter is definitely ready for the MLB, they probably could call him up, throw him into a 6 starter role, and then maybe have him do some long relief out of the bullpen if somebody were to be getting injured or just absolutely getting tagged around on the field during one of their starts. So I'm not sure when it comes to Andrew Painter if he's gonna see MLB time this year at a consistent rate. Next, we're going to talk about Jack Caglione. I think this dude is a stud. Last year's 6th overall pick. He's the freshest of all the guys we're going to talk about to AAA, having only debuted on this past Tuesday. He was a sensation at AA, hitting 322, 394, and 553 with 9 home runs in 38 games. He's still chasing on the high side and has been a little susceptible to curveballs and changeups through April and May, but he hits the ball really, really hard. So it won't matter all that much. Defensively, he opened the year primarily at first, but has been playing right field since joining the AAA roster. Right now, Royals right fielders as a collective have been worth negative 1.1 fielding WAR. I don't really like the statistic of WAR. I don't think it really tells you all that much, but that is the 29th best in the majors. And they are only ahead of the Rockies, who are a minus 1.3 WAR. And if the only team you're better at in any statistic is the Rockies, probably need to address that position. I think Caglione can manage his time in the outfield. He's probably going to be down at AAA for another month and a half, I'm guessing. And if he shows that he's a solid right fielder as well as the ability to play first base, the Royals will call him up sometime before the All-Star break. And I think it's just going to be a move out of necessity. The Royals need right fielders, and they need guys that are going to be able to hit the ball. And so far, when it comes to being at the plate, Jack Caglione has shown that he can handle the workload. He can handle what he needs to handle to get on base, get guys in, and hit the ball hard. So if that's really what the Royals are looking for, I would assume we're going to see Jack Caglione in the MLB very, very soon. And a guy that made his MLB debut this past weekend for the Red Sox is Marcelo Mayer. Marcelo Mayer. He made his debut on the 24th against Baltimore. He went 0 for 4, but I do give him some credit. He lost the keys to his car and had to find a ride to Boston when he got called up. He also started the game at third base and then was moved to shortstop in the middle of the game and then moved back to third base. I don't necessarily think that's a good move by the Red Sox. I get it. It was a move made out of necessity, but I don't think that's something you want to do to a kid that you're just calling up to the MLB, that you want to make sure that he's ready and you want to make sure he's comfortable. So you want to put him in a position for him to succeed. And I don't necessarily think the Red Sox entirely did that this past game against Baltimore, but hopefully he can turn some things around. Mayer went deep 7 times over 23 games in April, but kind of slowed down a little bit in May with only 3 extra base hits in 17 games. However, much like Roman Anthony, Mayer has been willing to take walks, 12 of them. He is leading uh, in OBP, I believe, with a 3.72. Mayer was hitting in the minors 265, 344, and 452. So it's pretty solid season. 8 home runs in 42 games. He was producing, but the infield, which is where Mayer plays, is the issue for Boston. Mayer would definitely help on the left side of the infield, probably could help a little bit at second base as well. But the main question is who's going to be holding things down at first base. Casas is out. Christian Campbell has played a little bit at first base, but I think they are going to need him at third and shortstop, especially due to Alex Bregman's injury. I believe he's going to be out longer than anticipated because of his, I think it's a quad strain or a quad injury. But I think with him being out, it really opens the door for Mayer to get some solid starts and experience in the MLB. Once Bregman is healthy, though, I do expect Mayer to head back to AAA to improve his hitting, especially if he's not able to get bat on ball at the MLB level. Stay up to date on everything going on in the sports world by heading over to 7 Mountain Sports on Facebook, 7 Mountain Sports on X, on Instagram. We are on all of your favorite platforms, and you do not want to miss out on a single thing going on here at 7 Mountain Sports. We're going to talk about trades. Speaking of which, I do have Marcelo Mayer in one of these trades, and the trades would be for Paul Skenes. Now, before we dive into all of the trade options that I found and came up with, Paul Skenes commented on the amount of trade rumors that have been floating around, saying, when I got drafted, I came in with the intention of winning a World Series here. That hasn't changed. I don't think my days here are numbered by any means. I kind of agree with this statement. I think Pittsburgh right now is on the edge of having a top-tier pitching staff. Paul Skenes, Mitch Keller, Jared Jones when healthy, Andrew Heaney's playing really well. Bailey Falter's pitching really well, but has not been a super reliable arm. And Bubba Chandler, he's looking like he's going to be the next guy that is going to come in and absolutely take over the Pittsburgh Pirates by storm. And I really enjoy that. The problem is that the Pirates don't have any offense. I mean, the Pirates have Tamar Johnson, Nick York, and Connor Griffin down in the minors. They're all going to be slightly above average to elite players at the MLB level, in my opinion. I think they all still have some growing to do for sure, but they're all going to be top quality players and plus players in the MLB without a doubt. The question is going to be is will the front office choose to compete and pay pieces that they need to keep in Pittsburgh, or are they going to do what they have been doing for a very long time, and as soon as it comes time to give those big contracts, they send everybody out the door? I think that has been one of the biggest problems for Pittsburgh. They have so much talent in the minors, and they don't bring them up together enough to actually put that solid team on the field. Once they always get one stud or 2 studs, and once it's time for their contracts, they're gone, and a year or 2 later, that's when the next studs arrive in Pittsburgh. They need to figure out a way to keep everybody there so that way all these elite players can show up at the same time and produce and make Pittsburgh a playoff organization again. One thing the Pirates have an abundance of is pitching down in the minors. They could trade some players away. Some of the starters, they do have a lot of starting pitching down in the minors, and they could trade some of them for elite relievers right now and try to be competitive this season, in my opinion, because their bullpen is absolutely awful, awful. And I believe that Paul Skenes, when he threw his complete game against Philadelphia, had the Pirates been able to get some runs, they would have won no problem. Like a 1-run 8-inning outing, any organization will take that any day of the week. But because there is a lot of trade rumors, as much as I don't think Paul Skenes is going anywhere right now, I'm still going to feed into the trade rumors because why not? I think some of the most likely trades would be to the Tigers for Max Clark, Bryce Rainier, Kevin McGonigal, and Colt Keith, because they're all the top prospects over in Detroit. And if Detroit gets another elite arm like Paul Skenes, that's just going to, I think, push them over the edge and give them the best chance to win a World Series. To the Red Sox for Christian Campbell, Roman Anthony, and Marcelo Mayer. Do not think this one is as likely because the Red Sox did just pay Christian Campbell a whole lot of money. Roman Anthony and Marcelo Mayer are both looking like they're going to be the future of the Red Sox right now. So I don't think that one's as likely. To the Cubs for Matt Shaw, Owen Casey, Moises Belleros, and Kevin Alcantara. That one would be a pretty solid trade. I think the Cubs do need to get one more arm, especially with the amount of injuries they've had to the starting rotation. To the Orioles is another one for Kobe Mayo, Samuel Basallo, Jordan Westberg, and Vance Honeycutt. That one would be pretty solid as well for the Orioles to get an arm that would be very reliable in Paul Skenes. And it would move a lot of their prospects and younger players that don't quite have a solid 100% spot on the Orioles lineup. And I think a pitcher like Paul Skenes could probably help the Orioles turn things around a little bit. I have another one of Skenes going to the Nationals for CJ Abrams, Brady House, Seaver King, and Luke Dickerson. This one I think is interesting, partially because it would put Paul Skenes back with Dylan Cruz, college teammates. Pretty awesome. But I also think it'd be interesting because the Nationals seem to be a team that's like right there. They have some guys that can really play ball, but they just need to lock in on consistency. If the Nationals could be a little bit more of a consistent ball club, I think they'd be competing right now for the NL East. Next, I have to the Yankees for the only players in the farm system that are really worth anything in Spencer Jones, George Lombard Jr., and Jason Dominguez, who is on the MLB roster now. But there really isn't anyone that valuable in the Yankees minor league system, in my opinion, to try to give up to get Paul Skenes. Unless the Yankees somehow find a way to trade the entire AAA roster to Pittsburgh for Paul Skenes, I don't see the Yankees really having a shot to make a trade or work some magic to get Paul Skenes over to New York this year. And the final one I have is the Phillies. The Phillies would trade Andrew Painter, Aidan Miller, and Justin Crawford, the top 3 prospects in the Phillies organization, for Paul Skenes. Another one I don't necessarily think is super likely to happen, mainly because the Phillies have a very strong rotation. They don't really need another dominant pitcher as much as Paul Skenes would be a huge upgrade to any rotation, no matter how solid it is. I don't think the Phillies are in a position right now where they should be going after another starting pitcher to produce now. I think the Phillies, if they're going to make any kind of trade, they need to make trades that are going to help produce in the outfield and in the infield. That's really the area of need, I think, for the Philadelphia Phillies. 7MM Sports is your hub for all things Seven Mountains Media Sports. You can watch the latest of Sports Talk with Steve Jones episodes. You can find what station you can listen to your favorite Penn State sports team on, and you can even get live social media updates all the time. All of these things are available along with every single show produced by Seven Mountains Sports over at 7mmsports.com. Now it's time to get into the standings update. The Yankees are in first place in the AL East still at 31 and 20, followed by the Red Sox, the Rays, the Blue Jays, and the Orioles. Over in the Central, Tigers are on top, followed by the Guardians, Twins, Royals, and White Sox. Out in the West, the Mariners have first place, followed by the Astros, the Angels, the Rangers, and the A's. The A's are starting to slide a little bit. However, they are still playing impressive baseball. Watched some of the Phillies game on Saturday night. It was a pretty good game. I really enjoyed it, and I'm impressed with what the A's have been doing. Over in the National League, the Phillies slide into first place because the Mets have been sliding poorly. They have been doing very, very bad over the past couple of days. They lose the Subway Series, they lose to the Dodgers, lose to the Red Sox. It's not going well for them right now. But they did just hit a very tough stretch in their schedule. So, as I said last episode, like I was expecting the Phillies to be able to overtake the Mets, having played the Rockies and the Athletics this past week. If the Phillies didn't overtake the Mets in the standings, I would have some more questions about Philadelphia. But the Mets are followed by the Braves, the Nationals, and the Marlins, rounding out the East. In the Central, the Cubs are at the top at 31 and 21. The Cardinals are in second, followed by the Reds, Brewers, and Pirates. And out west in the National League, the Dodgers are on top, followed by the Giants, the Padres, the Diamondbacks, and that other baseball team that plays in Colorado, the Rockies. It's rough. It's really not looking good for the Rockies at all. Moving on to statistics. Aaron Judge is leading in batting average, hits, and home runs. He's hitting at 395 with 77 hits and 18 home runs. Following him in batting averages, Freddie Freeman at 351, Paul Goldschmidt at 344, Jacob Wilson at 342, Will Smith at 336. In hits, Jacob Wilson is following Judge with 67, Paul Goldschmidt at 65, as well as Stephen Kwan at 65, and Trey Turner rounding out the top five at 63. Home runs, Judge is tied with Schwarber at 18. Otani has 17 with Cal Raleigh, and Tyler Ward got up to 15 so far this season. So I kind of like this. We got a nice balance of hits and home runs. I think balls aren't leaving the ballpark as frequently as in years past, and I'm excited. I think this is really good offensive season for a lot of guys. Over on the bump, Max Fried still has the leading spot with ERA at a 1.29, followed by Chris Bubick at 1.47, Nathan Eovaldi at a 1.6, Tyler Mahle at a 1.8, and Yoshi Yamamoto at 1.86. Great pitching. These five starters are unbelievable, and they're doing really great things this season. Strikeout leaders are Mackenzie Gore at 93, Zach Wheeler at 88, Carlos Rodon at 80, Tarek Skubal at 79, and Chris Sale at 78. When it comes to saves out of the bullpen, Andres Munoz moves up to first place at 17, followed by Robert Suarez at 16, Kyle Finnegan at 15, Carlos Estevez at 14, and Emilio Pagan at 13. These five are unbelievable closers. They're doing an incredible job, and I'm very impressed with Kyle Finnegan. I think he is insane on the mound, and had the Nationals been in a little bit better position to win more games, I would not have been surprised if Kyle Finnegan would be the leader in saves right now. But some games to watch as we move forward. We got the Giants playing the Tigers, two top teams looking to build on success. I think the Tigers are in a spot where they really need to continue to win ball games, extend their lead ahead of the Guardians in the standings as much as they can. And the Giants are hungry to get as many wins as they can and try to overtake the Dodgers. Like, both of them are in very tight divisions, and this series is going to mean a lot. So whoever's able to take 2 of 3 is going to be in a very good position. Plus, we have the New York Yankees taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers May 30th to June 1st. This series is going to be unbelievable, and it is going to mean a lot to both of these teams. They're both in first place in their division right now, and they both are looking to stay there. getting a win in this series is going to be very difficult. I expect this to be a pitching battle the whole way through for 3 straight games. It's going to come down to very small details throughout the entirety of all of these games. And I could not recommend watching all of these games as closely as you can. Even if your favorite team is playing the same day, you probably are going to want to watch the Yankees versus the Dodgers. But that's just my opinion. And now we're going to end things with the storied pitcher of the week and the storied player of the week. The storied pitcher of the week goes to Brian Wu from the Seattle Mariners. 2 games started, 1 win, 1 loss, a .69 ERA, 13 innings pitched, 14 hits, 52 total batters faced, allowing 3 runs. Only one of them was an earned run, 1 home run, 10 strikeouts, and no walks. Very impressive week for Brian Wu. 2 games that he was just an absolute stud out there on the mound. Very, very impressed. I believe he went 6 innings in one game and 7 innings in the other one. He got the win against San Diego and lost to Houston. Great games. Hopefully he's able to keep this kind of momentum and continue to dominate out on the mound. And the storied player of the week is Taylor Ward, who had a unbelievable week. 7 games played, a .429 batting average, 338 OBP, a 1.071 slugging through 28 at bats, 10 runs scored, 12 hits, 4 doubles, 1 triple, 4 home runs, 14 RBIs. He was raking all week. He also is on a 10-game hit streak and an 8-game RBI streak. So his successful week began last Thursday. Like he's been playing really, really well. And I hope he's able to keep it going, and he kind of needs to keep it going because the Angels do have a series coming up against the Yankees this week. So he needs to stay hot if the Angels want to be able to steal some wins away from New York. That is all I got for you amazing humans here today on Scorebook Stories. Thank you very much for tuning in and talking some baseball with me. If you have any thoughts, any opinions, disagree with some of my takes, let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the 7 Mountain Sports YouTube channel. If you are watching it, hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And if you're listening over on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else you get podcasts from, make sure you rate the show 5 stars out of 5 stars because 5 is an awesome number. Anyway, I'm Alec. I'm out of here. Enjoy the rest of your week and go watch some baseball.